Welcome back. It's the time we've been waiting for. It's Media Watch. James Creedon is here. James, we're starting with François Hollande in Algeria, where he still hasn't said sorry.
I'll show you the sentence. I mean, you know it already, Mark. Parti Socialiste has been tweeting it. That's the French Socialist Party. I recognise the suffering that colonisation inflicted on the Algerian people. That's maybe not the best translation of what he said, but it's the gist. Lionel Lucas, right-wing politician for the UMP party, says recognising or reconnaissance is the same, essentially, as repentance. It's just a lighter version of the same. So he thinks that because the whole issue was François Hollande was expected to express repentance or apologise for the Algerian war and colonisation, he found a way of saying things that didn't go quite that far.
We haven't got time here, you and I, to go over
Sure.
all of these things that people in Algeria are angry about, but there were some atrocities which clearly shocked me when I found out about them. And I'm just wondering how far it has to go for someone to actually stand up and say, look, we're sorry.
Right.
Because sorry, as the song goes, does seem to be the hardest word here, doesn't it?
Definitely does, and for some reason, a lot of people just have issues with that in France in terms of it being an apologist for your own history, that sort of thing. Now, Alain Juppé, also of the right-wing UMP party, said that Hollande found les mots justes, the right words, so he was in favour of what he said.
That's praise indeed, isn't it?
That's right. Now, so this headline in Le Parisien, I think expressing those divisions, frisson à gauche and critique à droite, people having shivering with the emotion of it on the left, many of whom had Algerian origins themselves, and criticism on the French right. This guy is Razi Amadi. He's a socialist MP who's on. He was the guy who said he had frisson. You had this person on Twitter saying that he felt Hollande had humiliated us. So obviously, a lot of different points of view there.
It is amazing that the
that
differences in view, and obviously I was very struck when I first came to France by the differences of opinion and the way some people of Algerian descent really are very hostile towards this country.
Absolutely.
Strange
And
stuff.
indeed, there's some polls, Mark, that actually show that. Atlantico, this was from yesterday, 26% of French people, only 26% have a positive image of Algeria. That differs with the case of Morocco, where 71% of French people have a positive opinion, and Tunisia, 53%, those three North African countries.
You know, if you go to a football match, France are playing Algeria, the French people of Algerian origin in France won't be supporting France, they'll be supporting Algeria. It's that kind of thing.
Yes.
It's that kind of identification,
And I
think, which
suppose
is
the war,
central to the issue.
that war of independence that ended 50 years ago, the wounds, I suppose, aren't still fully healed. Now, on that point, though, there's this article which I found quite interesting by Samir Bouakwir. He is an Algerian journalist. He's saying, look, it is actually 50 years ago. It's a very young population in Algeria. The vast majority of people in Algeria weren't alive during the war, yet the powers that be in Algeria keep talking about the past, keep seeking kind of apologies, and it's a way of avoiding taking responsibility and indeed discussing during an official visit like François Hollande's the issues that Algeria has today, housing problems, education issues, all the rest of it.
It's
Hollande,
like you say,
is complicit, according to this
shrewd
article.
political move. If you give people something to worry about, which is a collective issue,
Right.
it obviously, as you say, takes their mind off these broader issues that they all need resolving.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Bouteflika, perhaps the president there, to blame for stirring it, as we might say.
That's it. And indeed, François Hollande complicit in that, according to this journalist.
Okay, let's move on to the bright and cheery subject now. The end of the world, as we know it, scheduled for December the 21st. James.
You'd be surprised. It actually is kind of bright and cheery on Twitter, at least if you take a bit of distance from it and aren't taking it too seriously. Announcement from New Zealand. Let's take a look at this little poster doing the rounds on social media. We're still here. What did you expect? And you have this as well. Destruction all over New Zealand. The world is ending, folks.
That's funny. That's funny.
You have a lot of cartoons. I only had enough room to go up to 2012. That's the Mayan calendar. And the other Mayan says, that'll freak somebody out someday. And I suppose it has, in fact. Lots of brands taking advantage of it as well. Happy end of the world, that's whiskey. And end of the world confessions is trending on Twitter, with people coming out with all sorts of stuff we don't really need to hear, such as this person feeling she's always the last choice. Anyway.
Poor Sarah.
I know, but Twitter isn't really the venue
Poor
for it all.
Sarah.
You also have a lot of these weather forecasts predicting particularly spectacular weather today. Will we play a couple of seconds, Mark, of the movies? Because everyone's talking about the end of the world movies that we've seen in the last while. We'll roll some of those pictures. 38 of them have been brought together on BuzzFeed.com, and it makes for some pretty apocalyptic viewing.
Apocalypse James Creedon. Apocalypse Media Watch. James, thank you very much indeed. Let's leave our viewers with these apocalyptic scenes. Stay with us here in France 24.